Welcome back to Pickleballers. Today we have someone who has not done a pickleball podcast yet. We got the legend Matt Wright.
Jack Oxler, he kind of created a game, and we kind of did it together, where we taped off lines to make the tennis court a little bit smaller, and we compressed the tennis ball, and we would go out and play this game that we made up. We just call it mini tennis. There was a guy who saw us playing one day, and he just randomly said, "Have you ever heard of pickleball?" I was watching John McEnroe play tennis when I was 6 or 7 years old, and I was just captivated by his big personality. I started begging my parents, "Will you give me a tennis racket?" I love his fire. I love his passion. Sports needs villains. If you go out there and watch athletes who are just going through the motions, or you don't feel their passion, I don't think you're going to be as passionate about it.
You've seen a lot of the evolution of the sport. Where do you see it in a year, 3 years, 5 years?
I don't know that there's an identity crisis with pickleball right now, but I feel like we're in this gray area of what does the sport want to be? Does it want to be more of a chess game where there's a lot of creativity out there and a lot happening at the kitchen line? Or does it want to be a power game? And I feel like we're at this crossroads right now of what do we want to be? And I don't know if anyone has the answer right now.
Welcome back to Pickleballers delivered by DoorDash. Today we have someone who has not done a pickleball podcast yet, but someone I'm very excited to talk to. I've been looking forward to this conversation. We got the legend Matt Wright. Thanks for being here, my man. Like I said, I've been trying to get you to do this, and I'm excited to talk to you because I feel like I know you off the court, but so many people don't. You don't have
Myself
social
included.
media.
Yeah.
He doesn't have social media, and he's just kind of you're such a big personality on the court, and you're such an interesting guy off the court. I just feel like it's so cool for the pickleball world to kind of get to know who you are. So thanks for being here, my man.
I'm glad to be here. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I've been excited about it. So thanks for asking me.
Have you really not done a pickleball podcast?
I don't think I have. No, I've done one local one with a really good friend of mine in Wichita, but a childhood friend of mine, but that was just for a local Wichita podcast, nothing more on a, kind of pickleball centric. No.
Yeah, I'm excited about this interview. First off, thanks for being here. Since I got in the sport, you've been a staple, a mainstay, and I think really kind of one of those mysterious players of sorts, right? I mean, I think you're a different kind of player. You don't fit like there's all the younger players coming in, but you're, a little older, like me, but you're still dominating.
Putting it kindly, thank you.
But you're still dominating. I mean, I think you're kind of like the pickleball everyman in some ways. So yeah, thanks for being here and excited to dig in.
Let's dig in.
So I got a lot of fun questions I want to ask you, but just to start, I think for the pickleball world to know, take me back to your childhood, where you grew up, and kind of what life was like.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Wichita, Kansas. I mean, I say I was born there. I was born in a smaller town called Wellington, where my dad started his first dental practice out of dental school. Moved to Wichita when I was about 3 years old, so he could start a dental practice there, and was there up until the time I went to college, and that's kind of my very high level background of where I was born and raised. Yeah.
Any siblings?
I'm an only child.
Really?
Yep. I'm the one and only. Yeah.
How was that?
When I was growing up, it was, when I was younger, that's all you know, right? Like you're the only child, and it was just kind of like you're the third adult in the house, in many ways. So that was kind of like the way we function. I say that. I mean, there were still rules and all that, but that was just the way it was. As I got a little bit older, I was like, I want siblings. Everyone around me has siblings, but it just wasn't in the cards for my family. And so now it's kind of what I know. And I'm sure I missed out on various things from that aspect, but there are many benefits as well.
Did that play a role, do you think, in your teenage years and who you are now being an only child? Because I have one daughter. Okay. And so I'm wondering, because we're trying to decide if we're gonna have another. And so I'm just curious.
I felt like I was able to interact with adults from an earlier age a little bit better. Yeah. Like I was comfortable with that. I don't know. I don't know. I'd be curious on if you think an only child is more likely to be an introvert or an extrovert. I like my alone time. I like my quiet time, but I feel like I can be extroverted and pretty communicative and outgoing in the right situation. So I don't know. It's probably situational specific, but let's just say your daughter has hope.
Yeah. How was Wichita growing up? Because it's kind of, it's a fairly big city, I would say, but you said you grew up in Wellington?
Until I was 3, and then I moved to Wichita,
okay.
So I don't even remember Wellington. Wichita always comes in as number 50 on the Newsweek list of top 50 cities in the U.S. based on population. Really? It's always Tulsa 49 and Wichita 50. It's a great family city. A big reason that I eventually found my way back was because so many of my childhood friends ended up there as well. A lot of us left for college to start our careers elsewhere, and we all just naturally found our way back to Wichita, which is a pretty cool story, right? It's not
awesome.
like we didn't have this planned or anything like that, but I think it says a lot about how we feel about the city and the community, and yeah, it's always been home to me.
And was sports a big thing growing up? Were your parents trying to get you to play different sports? How'd you land on tennis?
Yeah.
Successful.
So tennis, this is funny. I was watching John McEnroe play tennis when I was 6 or 7 years old, and I was just captivated by his big personality. And so I started begging my parents, will you get me a tennis racket? And they did. And I went out on my parents' garage at the house, and I just beat the hell out of that thing with the tennis ball. I would play around the clock just hitting against the garage door. And in the winter, I would ask them to move the cars outside so I could hit on the inside. I was obsessed with tennis. I played all the time.
And you're playing, did you start playing with people, or was it just mainly solo wall practice?
I started, so my parents would start taking, so I'm hitting it against the garage, but then my parents started taking me to the local park just to hit. And I think they could sense that I probably a lot of parents feel this way about their kids, but I think he has some ability. I think his hand-eye coordination's good, and so they took me to a racket club in town and said, hey, my son would he loves tennis. What do you think about taking lessons? And it just kind of took on a life of its own from there. And that was around age 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Did you play the junior tennis circuit? Because I obviously we'll get to that, but you played college tennis. You had to be a good tennis player to play where you played, but did you take it pretty seriously from a young age like most tennis players do now?
Yeah, so around age 8 or 9, I entered my first tournament in Wichita, and then from then on, I was playing tournaments all the time. I was entering adult tournaments if I could. I was playing the older juniors if I could, and I was starting to take it seriously from a pretty early age, age 9 or 10.
Yeah.
We started traveling for, let's say Midwest tournaments, and then when I had some success there, started traveling more at a national level. So by the age of 10, we were traveling all over the country for national tournaments. Now, these weren't happening all the time, but it was a thing, and we were taking it seriously. My dad had a career, and it took a sacrifice for him to take away, to break away from work, take time off, things like that. So at that point, you're making a financial investment, both with lessons, travel, me away from school a little bit, all of it.
That's what I was going to say. So I was homeschooled. I obviously did the junior tennis circuit, traveled a lot, but you miss so much school. You have to be homeschooled from a young age. You went to school still in
I did
Kansas.
go to school. Yeah. And so I went to a school called Wichita Collegiate from the age of 6, and I graduated high school there. So I talked about all my good friends.
Yeah.
We all went to school together since we were.
I don't even remember schooling being a thing growing up.
I don't remember that either, but again, I'm older than you, Roscoe.
No. Honestly, I don't know many people who were homeschooled back then. I think
when kids started getting soft, they were like, "Oh, let's
homeschool."
Our generation, we're not
Jared.
Yeah.
No. So, yeah, I went. Like I said, I went to the same school from day one. Had that core group of friends forever, and
still friends with them.
Still friends with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, still friends with them.
Yeah.
Probably got a good core of 8 or 10 of them at least.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, so high school, you ended up going to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a Wolverine.
Yep.
What was that like?
Yeah, so I was looking at Stanford, TCU, and Michigan were my final 3 colleges. And
were you a top recruit in the nation?
Yeah, I was.
I
think at my second year in the 18. So when I was 18, I was top 10 in the country. I think I ended up number 7 or 8 in the country. I was with the Bryans and
really,
yeah. So the Bryans, Jan Michael Gamble, Justin Gimelstob, Paul Goldstein. That was kind of my group. That was my era. Yeah, and I went to Stanford TCU. I took my first 2 visits. I verbaled to the head coach, Tut Bartson, the legend at TCU, and said, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to TCU. And I had 1 visit remaining, and that was Michigan. And I came back and I said, Mom, Dad, I just want to cancel my visit. I think I'm going to go to TCU. And they said, look, it's a free recruiting visit. Go up there and just go enjoy it. It's Michigan. Just go see what you think. And I went up there and absolutely fell in love with the school.
Did you go to a football game?
I went to a football game. We played Illinois. I say we at the time.
Yeah.
Played Illinois, and just the big house, just the whole package, the athletic facilities, the campus, Ann Arbor, everything about it. I fell in love with Ann Arbor.
Is this the Desmond Howard years?
Desmond would have been early, so he was just before. He was early 90s. So I I was a freshman in 96 and graduated in 2000. So he was just before me. These were the Charles Woodson. So I was in the same dorm as Charles Woodson when he won the Heisman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you were an All-American.
And Tom Brady.
Brady,
Brady.
Brady.
Tom Brady, yeah.
Did you know Brady?
I knew Brady, had study hall with Tom Brady a couple times.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Was Brady then?
No. In fact, a good friend of mine knew Brady real well, a teammate of mine on the tennis team, knew Brady. And there's still a story to this day that we laugh about. My buddy is talking to Tom his senior year and said, how's the draft looking? And Tom's sitting there saying, it's not looking good. It looks like I'm going to go undrafted. I think I'd be a free agent. I think I'm going to go back and just work with my family in California or look at other options. And we all know how that turned out.
Have you seen the Brady draft photo?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Brady draft photo?
Yeah, that's him
scrawny
with
little
the thing.
kid.
Yeah.
He has the slowest 40 time. He's not breaking I was like, that's a guy I can respect. I love it. So anyhow, yeah, those are my guys. Yeah.
You know what, Jared? The other day I got to pickleball practice and I realized I left my balls at home. So I downloaded the DoorDash app and I got them delivered to my court. You know what's crazy is the other day I was starving, but I wanted to play that one more game. I had my DoorDash moment, played the game, on the way home, order the food, Chinese food, waiting for me, DoorDash. Download it today for all of your pickleball needs.
I feel like you talk about Michigan, even before this podcast, you talk about Michigan so highly, and I think that's so cool, like falling in love with your college. You clearly had an amazing time there, but you also did so well there as a tennis player. You were an All-American, one of the best players there.
Were they a great program at the time?
Yeah, we were top. We were always top 20, and two of my 4 years we were top 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how'd you do lineup wise? How'd you perform there?
I played number one singles all 4 years.
Wow.
So I came in as a freshman. I played the first couple dual matches at number 3, and just pulled off some pretty big wins in the Big Ten championships and just made my way up and
Insane.
eventually played higher than some of the upperclassmen. And yeah, by the end, I'd say, yeah, by the spring semester of my freshman year, I was playing number one in the dual matches. Yeah.
I think we posted do you remember this? We posted one of your tennis videos.
Yeah, I do.
Kitchen?
Yeah.
Play at the number 1 singles showdown, the Wichita, Kansas senior led Michigan to a 5-2 victory. The Wolverines now have a 82-17 all-time series lead over Michigan State.
Michigan State, you see the green and white, and atmosphere is always a little different, especially with the night match, which is something that's unique. I think we all enjoy it. It's our favorite match of the year, and I think the results are what we were looking for. We'd like to get all 7, but a win's a win, and I think everybody came out, played hard, and I think we're ready for the next one.
You know what's funny is I've talked with Doug Ellen, who's probably like, how old's Doug now?
I think he's 55.
And he's obviously obsessed with pickleball. And I always give you as a reference. You're obviously a few years younger than him, but I'm like, look at Matt Wright. I mean, the guy wins by using his brain on the court. He's so strategic, and he always brings it back to your tennis background. He's like, do you know how good Matt Wright was at tennis? He goes,
why are you using him as a reference? Because the age? I mean, come on.
Yeah, no,
That's something that gets me. If there's one thing, not a lot of things will get under my skin, honestly. That's one thing that does, though, when they'll say, oh, Matt, he's just not the athlete. Can he hang around with these other guys, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'll just say, like, let's see how you look and how you're moving when you're 48.
Totally.
Like, it's
Totally.
tough. Like,
100%.
I wish I could go back there if I was 24, 25
Totally.
and I was able to play this.
100%.
It would look, let's just say, a little different.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
but like I play with a bunch of younger kids at our HQ, and they'll like rip on me if I can't get to a ball, and I'm like, just wait.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool that you are kind of, when people talk about players who are a little older, I think it's cool that, like, I think it wouldn't be as cool if you weren't still so dominant, right? But I don't know. You're kind of like this icon in the sport.
It touches on your strategic performance and the way you're able to dominate at the chess game in pickleball. And that's why I used you as a reference, because, Doug's always complaining about his hip. He's always this. I'm like, dude, like stop worrying about that. Like, you can still be so good at this sport. And obviously, you're a freaking D1 tennis player. You were number 1 at Michigan, and that's what he brings up. He's like, Matt Wright was number 1 at Michigan. He's like, the guy was a tennis stud. He's like, I didn't have any of that background. But it's really just touching on how strategic you are. I think, like you said, like as younger people get into this sport, you're still making finals and you're still dominating, which is just so impressive. And I think it's because of your strategicness on the court and how well you're able to play the chess game.
But I think we're downplaying his athleticism too. Like, how would you rate your athleticism?
I'm not going to be the
Fed.
I'm not going to beat you in the 40 at this point. I'm not going to go out there and beat you on the high jump, but I think part of athleticism is hand-eye coordination.
Total. I was just about to say
Yeah,
that.
100%.
Right.
100%.
And I would think my measurables on that would be pretty high. And my only point with that was yes, I've slowed down. Yes, I'm very stiff when I'm out there now, but I think a lot of that has to do with age. And my only point was if you took me when I was 24 years old or early to mid 20s, I don't think you would look at me and be like, oh, he lacks athleticism.
Yeah.
No,
that's
not at all.
That's the right. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
I don't think that when I see you. I really don't. Because I think the hand-eye coordination, your hands, is a huge part of this sport. And you're also not playing a lot of singles. I feel like athleticism you see more in singles now.
Yeah. And it's figuring out how to manage everything, right? Like people also forget I was exclusively left side for years. Like that's my main side. That's the side I was always better on. Probably
And you're still very good on the left side.
Yeah, my skill set probably fits the left side better. But at a certain point, especially when I was playing with Ben, and we may get into that more, you have to like hand the mantle over and say, you need to be on the left, Ben. I need to figure out the right.
Yeah.
We're wasting your talents if we stick you on the right? Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's figure this out, and I'll swallow my pride, and I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
So before we jump into pickleball, you mentioned McEnroe. You saw him play when you were 6 or 7. Is he still like an idol of yours?
Yeah, I love his fire. I love his passion. Sports needs villains. I mean, for every hero, you need a villain. You need storylines. It brings in eyeballs. It brings in emotions. People care. If you go out there and watch athletes who are just going through the motions, or who are, I don't want to say apathetic, but just you don't feel their passion. I don't think you're going to be as passionate about it.
Yeah.
Like Carlos Alcaraz, like you feel his passion, huge personality. Just guys like that. Like I think center, people are going to struggle to connect with the center more.
Are you a baseball fan?
Yeah.
Mike Trout?
Yeah.
I bring him up a lot. Like one of the greatest players ever, very little personality. Whereas Bryce Harper is all fire. I mean, he's amazing too.
Correct.
But like, I feel like I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think you're so good for the sport, and we're kind of getting ahead because we haven't gotten into how you discovered pickleball. But I think that like your persona and just your fire on the court, I love it.
Yeah,
I think it's so good.
I've always said Matt is by far the most fun player to watch because obviously you're an amazing player, but it's because of your personality on court.
You've always said that, and I appreciate that. And not everyone's going to agree, and I'm going to rub a lot of people the wrong way and get under their skin when you're on the other side of the net from me. But I think by and large, most players realize it's never personal. I'm never out there saying below the belt things, but I will, if I can find something that's going to give me a 5% edge, I'm going to take it. Right.
Love it.
Because
I'm the same way.
The margins are razor thin at the physical level, at least for most, right? Yeah. How can I capture that 5% up top?
Yeah.
And I'm going to look for it.
Especially if someone's dink is busted, you will point that out.
I will point out if your dink is busted, and you will hear about it.
Have you ever, before Roscoe could dink in his early days, did you ever point out? Because you guys played.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, y'all played in Austin on a side court at Dreamland.
I don't think anything happened in that one.
No, we were.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was waiting.
Matt has always been very, very cool to me. We did play my first PPA ever was Los Cab PPA.
Yes.
And I remember, I think a lot of the LA crowd came out for that.
It was not you. It was what was going on around.
Yeah. And so a lot of like, I basically told people I was playing at Los Cab. And so I think a lot of like my friends came out and they were like, probably being a little loud. And Matt was definitely having a word with them, but it was like awesome. Like, I'm just thinking about if I would look back and I'd be like, what match do I want to watch today? Like, I'm going to go watch Matt. You know what I mean? Like you got the crowd involved. You weren't mean about it.
Were you pissed at your friends? You're like, why are you poking the bear? Like, this guy will eviscerate.
Well, I didn't know at the time. But you played better. I mean, you played better when people,
I play a lot better.
Yeah, 100%.
I've seen some matches, and again, I guess we're kind of into the pickleball segment.
Yeah.
But I've seen matches where your Julian's play, like we'll talk about the Julian Matt Wright kind of rivalry in a bit, but there's some matches where not even just Julian, but other players, they're playing really well, and then they start talking. Yeah. And I'm like, why? Yeah. Like, why would you do that? If Matt is not totally dialed in, why would you just give him that extra spurt? It's just bad idea.
Yeah, it's that's what a lot of people don't realize. A lot of that is for me too.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it to get myself going, right?
For sure.
If I'm like, oh, we're all best friends in Kumbaya and all that, like I don't play as well.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just trying
I
to
told that to Roscoe.
Yeah.
Like nicest guy in the world. And I'm like, you can't have everyone love you.
Yeah.
You
And I've seen you playing with more fire lately, Roscoe. In the last 6 months to a year, like it's noticeable.
And look at his results.
Yeah. And I have no problem with that. None.
If you're wondering what this hat is that I'm always wearing, it's a pickleballer hat. And guess what? You can get your own too. Click the link down below to get access to the limited drop for this pickleballer hat. I sometimes, and this is just personally, like, you know, saying come on and being fiery, like I'm like, gosh, I play better when I'm like that. But sometimes I'm like, I just don't love the way like it feels, because it has nothing to do with the guy across from me. It's really for myself, right? Like, for instance, if I'm playing, for sure. Like if I'm playing like Hunter, like one of my best friends, and I got to get like, you know, fiery, it's like, it's for me, you know what I mean? But it's like, how do I, you know, let them know, hey, this is for me. I'm not like screaming, come on, because like you missed a shot, you know? So it's finding that line, but yeah, you're totally right. Like it's kind of taken time to be like, hey, how do I play my best? You know, in what mode? Yeah. And I'm sure when people go to play you now, they're like, hey, we're not going to piss Matt off, because we know that, you know, Matt likes that. You know, Matt plays better when, you know,
it blows my mind when people start talking smack to you, when they're kind of neutral and it's a great match, and then they start talking and you're like, okay, let's go.
Or somebody in their camp in the crowd is doing it. That ticks me off. That's something that'll get me going. Like if they're getting loud or obnoxious, I'm gonna zero in on that immediately. Like Lucy's the exact opposite, right? She didn't have a clue what's going on around her. I'm walking back between points like, do you hear this guy? I'm just like, and I'm like, okay, there's my fire right there. I'm all in on that guy right there.
I love that.
Right. And I'm just and I'll never curse at you. I'll never say mean things to you, but I will say enough that's going to aggravate you and to create tension.
And give you that fire.
And light that fire in me.
Yeah.
And now, and I'm not comparing myself to Djokovic. The guy's a million times the athlete I could ever dream of being. But that's what Djokovic does. You know, if you talk to a lot of pro tennis players that know Djokovic real well, they'll say, love the guy. He's always been so good to me off the court. Djokovic is what he is on the court to light his fuse.
Yeah.
Like, it gets him going. He knows that's what he needs to play his best. So you'll see Djokovic many matches where he'll just find something in the crowd that ticks him off, or maybe he'll find a reason for it to tick him off. And his game will elevate.
Yeah.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
So you pointed that out.
So let's go into pickleball. How did you discover pickleball? At what point when you were playing tennis, did you play pro at all?
Yeah, so I was studying for the bar and playing pro for about 1.5 to 2 years, but my heart wasn't in it anymore. Okay. Like I said, started playing when I was 6, and I just wasn't all in anymore.
And you went to law school?
Went to law school.
At Michigan or somewhere else?
I went to KU, University of Kansas for law school. And I was still playing a lot of tennis, though. A lot of competitive tennis. Was traveling with a lot of other D1 players, and we were playing the national level events and things like that, because I'm obviously so competitive by nature. I just needed something to scratch that competitive itch. So I did that. We were doing that for years. And Jack Oxler, who one of the OG pickleball players, he kind of created a game, and we kind of did it together on a tennis court where we taped off lines to make the tennis court a little bit smaller, and we compressed the tennis ball, punctured it, squeezed all the air out, and took a wooden mallet that we bought on Amazon, a McGregor wooden mallet that I still have to this day. They were $6 a piece, and we would go out and play this game that we made up. We just call it mini tennis. Mm-hmm. And we would go out and play for hours to get this great workout.
A wooden mallet, like a hammer?
I say a mallet, like a wooden
paddle.
But like, it was a wooden paddle with holes in it. It kind of looks like a Bell paddle. Okay. But smaller, heavier, thinner. And we would go play for hours. And we always had 3 guys, Jack Oxler, Chris Heck, and myself, tennis players. And we would always need a 4th. And this is how I met Lucy. Lucy was at Wichita State, and I was hanging around the club where she was playing a lot, playing this game. And we would say, hey, we need a 4th. Do you want to play? So she was kind of like, she'll call herself like the filler, the alternate. She would sub in and play with us.
Was there any strategic stuff going on there?
No, there really wasn't at all at that point. And, but we would go out and just play this game for hours. And we did that for about a year.
Did you invent pickleball?
Yeah, I'm probably old enough to say I did. Anyhow, there was a guy who saw us playing one day, and he just randomly said, have you ever heard of pickleball? And we said, no. never even heard of it. And he goes, well, here, check it out. And he shows us on YouTube. And we look at it and we go,
Who did he show you? Like Timothy Nelson?
it was guys like that. It was just like whatever he drew up on YouTube. We were like, that's absurd. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's a plastic ball
And
with
he's
holes.
like, well, you're playing this other weird thing.
Yeah, and we were like,
compress.
but these guys are taking it so seriously.
Yeah.
This is absurd. Oh, we'll never do that. He comes back out a week later. He sees us playing again. He's like, have you given pickleball a chance yet? And we go, no. Well, this goes on a couple times. Eventually, he's got a sport court in his backyard. He said, come out, let's play. I'm going to show you pickleball. So we go there and we play, and we were like, this is actually pretty cool. We had a good time, but we didn't want to admit it at first. But that continues for several weeks. And then Jack happens to see that the first U.S. Open of pickleball in 2016 is coming up in about 6 months, and they're advertising it.
2016?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were playing in 2015, but they were advertising the first one for 2016. And we said, you know what? Let's get serious about this thing. Let's give it several months and let's go play it. Let's go spend a week in Naples and play the first U.S. Open.
And how old are you at this time?
Oh gosh, this was 9 or 10 years ago, right? So 39, 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very upper 30s, pushing 40. And that's the history of it. We showed up at Naples, first U.S. Open. That was that was my first tournament ever.
So this is, sorry, you said 2000?
April of 2016 is the first U.S. Open.
And so you're like well past your tennis career at this point.
Yeah, I was still playing career, yes, way past the career, but still playing a lot of tennis tournaments with those guys. But found pickleball, found this mini tennis game that we were creating just for exercise. And so I wasn't playing as many tournaments at that point. And when we saw this pickleball tournament coming up, the U.S. Open, we said, let's focus on that. Let's go play it in 6 months.
But you're practicing law.
Yes.
And you're still practicing law.
Yes.
And what kind of law?
Transactional attorney, a corporate attorney, do a lot of contracts. I'm in-house counsel for
And so you're a lawyer and you love competition.
Mm-hmm.
You see the U.S. Open and is Oxler I think I've seen Oxler. Does he play anymore?
He doesn't, but he's going to make it. Oxler will be a very good senior. He just turned 50 and he'll be a top senior.
I've heard you mention
Jack
his name.
will be very good.
I saw him somewhere, maybe at a tournament or like an exhibition.
Yeah.
And so he was your partner?
He was my partner for the Open. If you want to hear U.S. Open stories, we can jump into it.
Let's go. And
So
what level are you at this point?
Well, so that's the funny thing. I had to call and talk to a guy that's running the U.S. Open and the USAPA, whatever it's called at the time, and convince him of what my skill level was going into the U.S. Open. And they're like, no, we're only going to let you play at 4 or 5. And Jack's calling is like, this guy's going to be good. Like, you need to at least make him a 5-0 so he can play the pro. So eventually they agreed to letting me be self-rated as a 5-0. And they do the same for Jack and Lucy. We all go down there together. So I'm in mix with Lucy and I'm in men's pro with Jack.
You're not dating Lucy at the time.
Not dating Lucy. And I play the age division with Jack Oxler. Our very first tournament on the very first day, the very first event is the men's 35 plus. And so I think they see 2 guys, random guys no one's ever heard of from Wichita, Kansas. So who do we get first round of the men's 35? Rozpedski and Evans. So Marcin Rozpedski and Morgan Evans.
Oh, wow.
Arguably the top team in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. We play them in the very first match.
Your first competitive tournament?
First competitive pickleball match ever, and we play them first
And did you
round.
know who they were?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll get into that too a little bit. We end up losing that match in a tight 3-game match.
Wow.
It was probably 11-7 in the third, and it's tight. Jack is getting sick on the court. He's so tired. Morgan Evans is just beat physically. Like, it was a war. And so people started taking notice at that point. So that was kind of when we burst onto the scene. And then
what's the style like? Is it a lot of dinking?
A lot of dinking then, because the technology, right? You have to dink a lot. But I wasn't dinking a lot.
That forehand speed up was still firing.
Yeah,
back
and I
then.
was playing from the left, and being 10 years younger, like I was pretty centered up on the court, taking up a lot of court at that point.
And are you talking smack at this time?
No.
Okay,
no,
so you're pretty chill.
Yeah, I'm pretty
you're humble.
chill.
You're like,
trying to establish myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyhow, we end up losing that match, but and then we end up coming around and getting the bronze and 35 plus because we had to play those guys first round. But Jack and I then play men's pro, and we lost in the semis of men's pro, and we lost to Wes Gabrielson and Dan Moore. And never forget that one. There's still a top 10 highlights clip on YouTube from 10 years ago where you'll see some awesome points from back.
Really?
Like, yeah, if you get a chance, there's some awesome points in it.
come over to the desk, brother. Come to the desk today. Really, very.
Some really cool points in that match. We lost 10-10, so we were right there. But what was funny about that tournament is every round we're going out for, I've got the scouting report on everybody, because for 6 months as I'm learning the sport, I'm laying in bed at night watching YouTube religiously and texting Lucy and texting Jack, hey, look at what these guys do. Look at the strategy here. And I'm just learning the sport. And so
Dan and Wes were studs then.
They were studs.
Yeah.
But by the time we played them, I had the scouting report. I knew everything about Dan, everything about Wes. They knew very little about us.
Wow.
Right? So yeah, it was cool. It was a YouTube exclusive world at that point. Yeah.
I think that's what I mean when I say strategically, and I think just pickleball IQ wise, and maybe your pickleball IQ wasn't as high because you hadn't played as much back then, but like you use your brain on the court more than other people. That's just something I've noticed. Like when I talk to you about the game, like you're able to like pick apart little things about people's games. You're able to create these very distinct strategies that work really well. And it's just, I think maybe, you're a lawyer in real life. Like you clearly are a brainiac,
Very
but it's
smart.
cool to see how you even did that back then before you were playing, watching YouTube, drawing up game plans against these players. At what point did you kind of realize like, hey, this is actually like a real thing? It's not just like a one-off US Open.
A bit of a funny story there. So we're on site in Naples and we're having some good results. And Lucy comes running over to me and she says, Matt, there are sponsors. And I've got this guy over here who wants to give us a couple paddles and some shirts. And I was like, no way. You got to be kidding. Like he'll give us free paddles. And like, yeah, I'm like, let's go over now. We've got to meet him. And
Is this
like,
Onyx?
no, this was ProLite.
Oh, wow.
ProLite. Yeah.
Simone's old brand. Right?
Yeah. ProLite.
Who was the person?
Neil. I just remember. Yeah. It was Neil at ProLite.
Friedenberg?
Yes, that's it. Friedman or Friedenberg. You got it. Yeah. Good memory. And so then first it's with Neil, and then there's Rob Elliott with Engage. And then there's, Curtis with Paddle Tech. And I mean, it's just one after another. And you're like, and they're offering these small sponsorship packages. We're like, this is the coolest thing
Cash
ever.
or just paddles?
Just paddles and a little bit of money. I mean, a very small amount of money. And the whole thing, yeah. So you asked, did I see this going somewhere? Not to where it is today at all. But did I see that there's this competitive pickleball world out there where you can make a little bit of money and it's a really cool environment? Yes. Yeah, you could see that.
We've interviewed some people recently who are kind of, we call them OGs, but I think you are now the one who has been playing the longest. You were before Ben.
I'll give you another good story on that.
Yeah.
The first age division that Lucy and I played was the 19 plus at that tournament. Cause again, we're playing age divisions. We're there the whole week. Here's a who's who of who was in that field. So our first round, we played Joey Farias and Catherine Parento.
Wow.
First round. Ben's in the draw.
Who's he playing with?
He's playing with one of the David sisters. I think it was Abby David.
Really?
Yep.
He told us this on his podcast.
Abby?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's playing with Abby, I think, in mixed. Kyle Yates and Jen LaCour. So I think Ben loses first or second round. And then we have to play Joey and Catherine. I think I told you,
Are
have
they
to.
the one seed?
No, Kyle and Jen LaCour are the one seed. But you have to self-rate, like I told you, right? So we're warming up, and these are back in the days you didn't warm up with your partner, you warmed up with the opponent. So I'm warming up with Joey. Lucy's warming up with Catherine. We don't know who, none of us know each other. But we know they're 4-5s going into the match. That's the rating. And you do kind of you walk back right before the first point, and you go, hey, how do you look?
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy's pretty good. Like he's good. And I was like, how's your girl? And she was like, she's good. She's, and she doesn't seem like a 4-5. So we end up winning.
So this is Catherine.
This is Catherine and Joey first round. Yeah.
Wow.
And they end up being at one point a top 5 team in the world.
But you beat him that day.
We beat them. And then we played Kyle and Jen LaCour in the final, which in what may to this day be the most fun match I've ever played.
Was Jen great? She's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah. She was just like the nicest person. And all of us are playing tennis out there. There's no dinking. We're just slapping the ball, going big. We went 11-9 in the third. And I'm talking.
Won.
We won. And I'm talking with Kyle. We're down 9-8 in the third. Kyle always tells this story. Someone calls a timeout and I go over and I was like, isn't this just the greatest thing? Isn't this so much fun? He's like, dude, it's 9-8 in the third. And he was like, and you weren't talking trash, like you genuinely meant, like, isn't this the greatest thing? And
center court.
No, that was the disappointing part. This match, for as fun as it was, we had a huge crowd of spectators, but it was on an outer court. Wow. So there's no footage of it. It was a really cool match. Yeah, a lot of fun.
So I have to ask, so people used to warm up with the opposing team?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a tennis thing. Like when you play tennis, you
well, no, I know.
warm up with your
I've seen that
partner.
in singles. I mean, but there's no one else.
No, in doubles, you do that
Really?
too. Yeah.
Why?
It's a lot of work to, have someone walk over
That's so weird though, because then you get to see their their stuff, you know?
That's how tennis works.
It's kind of like the warm up, like, hey, let's just hit a couple balls. So these first few points aren't.
So are you trying to downplay your skills at this point if you're doing that?
Some people. I had a friend in college who would miss every ball in warm up
intentionally.
So he would give you an awful warm up. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
The worst is when you'd play someone who was trying to hit winners in the warm up, and you're like, this guy's trying to show off. He's trying to intimidate you by you hit a ball up the middle, and they're supposed to hit it back to you, and they hit a big ball to your backhand. This guy's an a-hole.
Yeah, for sure.
So you come into the sport and you're 38, something like that.
Yeah, upper 30s, 38 to 40.
And Yates is 24.
Oh no, I think he's probably 18, 19.
18 or 19.
Yeah.
And so even then you're older than the rest of the people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for the ones who are really,
Yeah.
I mean, Farias is what? He's probably mid 40s, late 40s. No, is he playing senior?
I would guess Joey's 40. I'm just guessing.
Really?
I would
if
think
he's 40, yeah.
And so
Dan Moore's probably, Dan would have been.
He's in Asia now, right? I mean,
but at the time he would have been early to mid 20s probably.
And so are people who is this guy? This dude's shouldn't be as just based.
They had to know your tennis background.
They learned quickly because I'm wearing Michigan stuff. I was wearing Michigan gear to the tournament. There's no sponsor, right?
Yeah.
So just wearing Michigan stuff. But yeah, your name would start to spread pretty quickly, and then you're immediately getting calls from.
And so Lucy's 23 or 24.
Yeah, probably 22, 23, 20, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so did you sign with ProLight?
No, we ended up signing a deal with Engage with Rob Elliott. Yeah.
And how long are you with Rob for?
I bet we were with him 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rob's a character.
Rob's a
I want to
character.
get Rob on Pickleballers for sure.
Rob beat Ben Johns, right?
Rob was Ben Johns, Ben Johns was his last partner, Robert Elliott.
Rob was a good player, a solid player.
Yeah.
He was good. Yeah, good player. Made great paddles. Well, I mean, we went there because we enjoyed Rob and Jody and the family, but he also made great products.
Yeah.
So we're I think his paddle gives you an advantage.
Especially with no paddle testing. I feel like back then the ways you could get an advantage with your paddle was probably just rapidly increasing.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. There was no on-site testing or anything like that.
Yeah,
no.
the ref would, feel your paddle.
Rub their hand over it one time, yep, it's good.
And so you were a big part, or I guess you were around when PPA started, and I know you've been very, very loyal to the PPA. You're good buddies with Pardoe. How did that kind of evolve, and was that part of making this whole thing more of a career to you?
For whatever reason, Pardoe and I hit it off. He was always good to me, and I was always loyal to him. I think he appreciated that. You see a lot of players today that, I don't want to say a lot of players. There are players out there who will be disappointed with certain venues or the facilities or, I'd be lying if I said that I haven't complained about certain things or been disappointed by certain things along the way. I think that's natural. But I have tried to never take for granted where we started and where we are now. And I have always felt like it was a privilege to have what we have. By no means did I, in fact, Connor still laughs about this to this day. I met Connor at Indian Wells Tennis Garden the year before starting the PPA. And I was one of the first people he was introduced to. And we had heard that the PPA was starting a professional tour. And he looked at me and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think you're crazy. I don't know what you're doing."
Really?
I just looked him right in the eye and said, "I think you're crazy. I don't know how you scale this thing or monetize it. I think we're at our peak right now, but hey, more power to you and good luck." I was wildly off, obviously. I'm happy to this day that I was wildly off. And Connor and I laugh about that, to this day. But yeah, that's kind of our brief background.
But you had perspective. I mean, you saw what it was.
Yeah.
Well, my first year at the U.S. Open, we just started the kitchen, and my co-founder Dane's an artist and a muralist, and so he was big on let's have great branding. And I show up at the U.S. Open and it's like clip art everywhere. And I'm like, what is this sport? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And I think Connor played a huge role in the up leveling of production and branding and just what pickleball could be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I have so much appreciation for what Connor's done, and it's great to hear that you also feel the same.
Oh yeah,
way and
because
have that
I
perspective.
mean, your frame of reference, not you and me, our frame of reference to that date had been what we had seen. And the U.S. Open, they did a great job.
Yeah.
Like they really did it up. They were able to scale it in their own way. So it was hard for me to conceptualize the vision that Connor had for a professional pickleball tour. Once he started to build that out over time, I started to connect to it more. And I'm like, okay, I get it more. But at the time, it was just like, how are you gonna make a TV product when we're playing at these parks and like
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, how are you? I don't get it.
It definitely was not easy, and we had him on and we talked to him. The journey that guy's had, especially going through like the tour wars and all the crazy things that have happened in pickleball, has been insane. And that guy's resilient to go through it. And it's why me and you get to play pickleball, you know?
I mean, it's so true. We saw Connor and the PPA leadership team. I mean, at the darkest hours when the tour wars broke out, those were bad days. Those were tough times. And the way that they've been able to come out of that on the other side,
Crazy.
It's crazy. You know, like
There needs to be like I asked him about this. There needs to be like a documentary on that.
And
there should be.
There has been some, but not that have been great, I don't think.
There's a hell of a story to be told there.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you played MLP a couple seasons, right?
I did one season.
Yeah. And I love your loyalty, honestly. Like, I think, you know, maybe you're just not into MLP, but maybe it's Connor. I'm curious if you're open to sharing that, but I think it's cool that you've kind of stuck with Connor and PPA.
For all my faults, say what you will about me. I think one thing I think is loyal.
Yeah.
I'm just a loyal person by nature. You know, read into that what you will, but when all that stuff was going down, it was just the PPA. They've always been wonderful to me. I believe in what they're doing. I'm going to remain loyal to them. Nobody had to twist my arm. It was just natural and an easy decision for me.
Speaking of loyalty, I would say that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your relationship with Riley was the first really big mainstream breakup in pickleball. Would you say that's accurate?
In terms of like a mid-year breakup, for sure, there had been some dominant teams. And I'm not even calling us dominant, but let's just say
you guys were dominant. Yeah, I mean, y'all beat Ben and Collin several times,
and we're making finals every single
time. It was like a given. It was going to be Ben and Collin versus you and Riley.
Yeah. In terms of a breakup, that's probably
like social media.
Yeah.
What happened?
We had a really good run there. I forget the year, but when we had won maybe 4 out of 5, and we had figured some things out. And then Ben and Collin, as they always do, they readjusted back the other way. They made some strategic changes, and we had lost probably 5 in a row. And Riley called me up, he just said, "Look, if we lose 1 or 2 more events, I think I'm going to look in another direction. I think Ben and Collin have figured us out. I'm going to look in another direction." And we played the 1 or 2 more events. I think we lost in the finals of both again. In the last one, it was in a 5-game match in San Clemente. We were up 2-1, ended up losing in 5. And he, called me up about a week later and said, "Hey, I'm going to look in another direction and try some other partners."
So it was
out.
his decision.
It was his decision.
And you were going to stick with him.
Yeah.
And how'd you feel?
I just told him at the time, I just said, I don't know that this makes both of us. I think this marginalizes both of us. I think it makes both of us weaker, but I'm not going to sit here and fight for it. If that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do.
And he went James first?
I think he went Julian and AJ Kohler. I think were his first. I want to say those were his first 2 tournaments.
And he didn't have a lot of success.
Not as much as we had, no.
And were you kind of on the sideline like, yeah, I hope he loses?
Well, I think it's human nature where you want to, that's just human nature a little. I wasn't out there like actively rooting against him, but it's human nature that you want to, in the competitor and you.
You're a competitor. He's a competitor.
Yeah. And I want to go out there and I want to go out there and prove myself with other partners, and show that I still think I'm playing. I think the narrative around it was, it must be Matt. He must be the weaker player. He's getting old. There were all those narratives out there. And you that'll definitely light a flame in you too. There's something to prove.
Sure,
yeah.
for sure.
So,
but it's funny you talked to Ben. Ben was talking on our podcast about how one shot that he had to add into his toolbox was his 2-handed backhand counter because of you. He's like, Matt kept eating me up down the line with this 4-inch speed up, and then Riley would be there with this, pancake grip in the middle. So it was very hard for him to cover. So he had to have that second hand on. And I just think it's funny how you bring up how they adjust and they're very strategic as well. And this was maybe something like just a little adjustment they made that maybe they felt gave them the edge. You played a lot with Ben beforehand, before Riley. And then I know you played with him in Kansas City when you won. That was Tour Wars time, I think, actually.
That was the weekend the Tour Wars broke out.
Yeah.
So you were with Ben leading up to Riley.
I played with Ben for a couple of years leading up to when I played with Riley. And Ben had told me for years, hey, I want to keep riding this out with you. We're winning a lot, but my plan longer term is to play with my brother if he gets to a point where I think we can win together. I said, hey, I totally get it. Thanks for the heads up. And when that time comes, just let me know. And it did.
You guys barely lost a match.
Yeah, we didn't lose much.
How many? Like,
I think maybe 2 matches in 2 years.
One was to Deckel.
One was to Deckel. Yeah, we let a big lead get away, and Deckel got that match. And the other one, we lost to Riley, and Tyson won match.
Was Collin in the mix at this point? Was he a competitor of you guys'?
Yeah, he was playing. So Ben and I played Collin in a couple matches, but we knew Collin was on the way up. Yeah. So that was always the plan. And then when Ben and I were done, I reached out to Riley, and Riley and I were rivals. We did not get along. And I just said, hey, do you want to put the past behind us? And,
So y'all had a pretty storied rivalry, like not friends.
Not friends. And, we're both chirpers, and we're both hyper competitive. And when we would play each other, we would get into it and things would be said. And I reached out to him and I said, you want to bury the hatchet and make a run at this thing? I think we're the best team I'm not the best team overall, but like we're the best team to challenge Ben and Collin. And, he said, let's do it. And we ran that together, a year and a half, 2 years?
What was it like playing with Ben? And then I do want to talk about the Riley, because I think y'all's personalities, y'all are both pretty big personalities. But what was it like playing with the GOAT?
I think the world of Ben. I respect him tremendously, his intellect, his skill. I could go on and on about Ben and just how highly I think of him. But playing with him, you said earlier, Roscoe, that you think I see certain things in the sport. I always felt that way about Ben. He would have scouting reports for us that were simple, but layered, if that made sense. Like he was seeing a few other things that other people weren't. Mm-hmm. And you would have your bullet points of 3 to 5 things. And you were like, yeah, if we stick to that, I think we're going to be fine. You're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And he put together a lot of those game plans. And
so he'd do this for you guys, like as a team, you saw this
a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and for our opponents too, scouting opponents. Yeah. And
no, but that's what I mean. Like when you guys were playing together, he was doing this type of stuff.
We both would, but he would, I just thought so highly of him that I would defer to him at the end of the day. If he saw something I didn't, I would be like, let's go with your, game plan. If we disagree on something, let's try yours. And But playing with him was just, the guy covers 65, it's hard to quantify, but whatever it is, he hides your deficiencies and your weaknesses so well. And he's at his best when he's moving around. So when you put those two dynamics together, it just makes such a strong team.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just, it was a privilege to play with him. I learned a lot. It was just a privilege.
Did it feel that way when you were playing with him?
Yeah.
Were you like, wow, I'm playing with the Michael Jordan. But was it known at that time?
Yes.
Okay. So you're like, this is really special.
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool.
What do you think makes him so good? Other obviously his intellect and his strategic ability, but is there anything else that really stick out to you? Someone who's played with him and against him a ton?
He's the smartest player out there, I would say. He doesn't have any obvious holes in his game. None.
And if he does, he covers them quickly.
He used to have the one hole that I was able to exploit that he talked about with Riley.
Yeah.
And I could attack his backhand. Once he shored that up, there's just not a lot there. Right?
And he's not real emotional either.
No. And so, he's been, I still laugh about it. Ben and I are close, and I still laugh about it to this day that he's been... My biggest heartbreaks on the court have been because of him. I have had some big leads and some heartbreaking moments on the court where he came back. Some of it is physical because he was just so great in those big moments. Some of it was mental, I think, where he had you mentally in those moments where there was an infamous match where we're up 10-1 in the third. Kyle Yates and I are against Ben and Collin, and we ended up losing 12-10 and in the third. And, you know, when
where was this?
US
Chicken
Open.
and Pickle, that was the biggest
Okay.
money tournament to date at that time. And we're up 10-1 in the third. And when it got to 10-4, I was nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Against a normal team, 10-4, it's like, I'm not going to get nervous until it's maybe 10-7. Like, we're fine. We're still okay. When it hit 10-4, everyone's feeling it on our side of the net. And I think a lot of that's
Collin
been.
did that a lot, not a lot because they weren't in that position a lot, but I remember times where they were down in the third or they lost the second and people are like, oh, they're going to lose. And they just find a way. They found a way over and over again.
I think the reason for that, I think it was twofold. I think they would elevate their games, and I think their opponents would implode a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's not to take anything away from them. They were great in those moments. But
sure.
I think they probably needed some assists along the way from their opponents, and you would just feel it.
So you end with Riley ends the partnership. Are you like, wow, I could be done? Or are you like, oh, I'm going to figure this out. Like I'm going to find the next partner because there wasn't another player. I don't think that like when you guys split, I thought it was a mistake.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys are going to the finals. Like, what more do you want? I understand you want to win every time. That's not going to happen, right? No one's going to be Ben and Collin every time. Like, what was your mindset?
I had to scram. I think he had a plan in place with some other partners, so he kind of had those lined up a little bit, and then I was scrambling a bit to go, so I had to kind of cobble something together the rest of the year. Thankfully, Ben did reach out to me to play one tournament, and it was Kansas City, and we won that. But I was still able to have some good results after that with some partners that I just kind of put together at the last minute.
Who'd you play with?
Let's see. I played with Rafa one tournament. I played with Jay another tournament. Who else did I play with?
You and Rafa would be scary together with the smack talk.
I played
He's
with.
playing left there too.
Yeah, I was playing left when I played with Rafa. I think we got to a semi in Cincinnati, at least a quarter. And then I was playing the left there. I can't remember if I played with James in those last few months.
I remember James. I thought it was
played with
James and Riley, but I think it was you with James.
I played with James the beginning of the next year once I had a little more time, and I saw James' power, and it was impressive to me, and I was like, man, I think this guy can just go through people.
Yeah, when James is on, he's insane.
He's insane with the power.
What about J-Dub?
I've never played a tournament with him. Yeah, never played one.
I just feel like your guys' consistency would be, you're speeding up on the right. He's so consistent on the left, and he can close that middle so well. Like if you initiate a firefight, he can, you basically have the whole middle covered. You can just slide. I feel like you guys would be a very good team.
I think it'd be fun, and I've talked to him before about it. Like I think I could get it'd be fun to try to see if I could get some like fire out of him.
That would that's a partnership.
I actually
wanna
think I
see.
could. I'm calling it out right now. If I play with JW, I can get him to bring a little fire.
We got to get Julie on the phone after this. Got some words for her.
I played with Dylan Frazier. We played a tournament. I forgot about that. We played Denver together. So yeah, it was just a bit of a hodgepodge of partners at that point.
So in modern day pickleball, tough question, but I want you to give me your answer in order. Who are the top 5 best players today? And I know it's hard. You got right side, left side. Just in order, if you're like, who are the best players in the world today, 1 through 5.
And we're going men's.
We're going men's.
And let's remove singles.
Remove singles.
And you want them in order.
In order.
I'll go Ben 1, Andre 2, Hayden 3, Gabe 4, Christian 5.
Wow. That's honest. And why? And I'm not, Andre's 2 on my list, I would say.
Andre's 2. Yeah, he's 2. I mean,
no J-Dub in there.
Forgot about J-Dub. He's right there with.
He's right there.
He could be before Hayden, Gabe, or Christian.
So I talked
any
to
given
Ben.
day. Any
and
given
Ben
day, they all are right there.
Said J-Dub.
This
was a few months ago.
I honestly forgot about J-Dub for a minute, even though we just talked about him.
He might not partner with you.
I think those guys. It's also close.
It's like I feel like every week it
it's
changes.
so close.
The skill is getting.
Put him
so
in
good.
there with that group, and that's your group of call it 6.
Yeah. I think it's interchangeable.
Yeah, I think so.
So there was a time where when you would play Julian Arnold, it was in my opinion the match of every tournament. Like we go to these tournaments with Jason and Dane, and we'd be filming the whole time, exhausted. But when I saw you guys were playing, I was energized.
Yeah.
That was like must-see pickleball, must-see TV. What made that so special and so fiery? Like, and we spoke before the podcast. You said you guys are good now off court. But what was it about Julian that just created the fireworks?
He lit that fire in you. That's why.
Yeah, it's hard to say. He's just loud and in your face, and I don't know that's fine, but expect me to get loud and in your face right back. And we had our rivalry, if you want to call it that, where we both got real loud and real chirpy. He's witty with his chirpiness too, which I respect. Like I think a lot of people get loud just to get loud, but it's sort of like,
so you can respect a good chirp.
Sure. Yeah.
Did you almost come to blows with him ever?
No,
really?
No.
God, I mean,
No.
I just it was so intense. It was so funny.
Matt's a lawyer. He's smarter than that.
Yeah.
He's not getting himself into anything that can be.
Was it kind of like you guys are kind of polar opposites in all ways, like just look and vibe? Like, I mean, y'all both, big smack talkers, but were you ever like this little guy, like, what is he talking about? Or
yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, it wasn't manufactured or made up out there. It was authentic what was happening out there. But, I don't know. I've always been, for the most part, I can't say this is not an absolute, but in most cases I can separate what happens on the court with the off court.
Yeah.
Like, it's just sort of like, it's
I agree.
competitors being competitors. And like, there are so many keyboard warriors out there who are just like so judgmental and so like, they have their opinions. And it's like, until you've been out there in those moments in your respective sport and realize that a lot of these players at the end of the day respect each other and get along quite well off the court, like that's just the way it kind of operates. And like, I take sports for what they are. You lose me if you start cheating a lot. I've got a real problem with that.
I completely agree.
I've got a real problem with that. And people again, I'm going to the keyboard warriors a little bit. For some reason that gets kind of swept under the rug a lot.
People could not agree more.
I mean, we've been shining a light on it a lot lately.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cheating that goes on out there, and there are a lot of repeat offenders.
I do think you're right, because I think we did Jason Aspis did this series called The Reset, and one was on the North Carolina match with you versus Julian and Jesse, and there was a lot of smack talk, and then at one point I think you bagged Jesse, and Julian was like, "You're not going to say sorry, man," and that blew up. And I remember that was the first time you and I actually had a communication, and we did the reset on it. And then, as we like to do, we'll kind of like post something over and over again if it's getting if it's going viral. And at one point you're like, "Yo, like I don't remember what happened, but it was the first interaction where I was like, all right, Matt, like he cares, like he cares, like you're not just the court guy, like, and that's where I was like, all right, I respect that. But do you like any thoughts on that match?
Yeah, that one, I thought Julian was going pretty, I don't want to say high and hard. He was just going aggressively at Lucy with a lot of drives, attacking her like crazy. And then I happened to get this little like slow roller backhand flick that catches Jesse. I think it got her like in the shoulder or maybe in the neck, but it was a slow roller. And I yell, "Come on," real loud, and he goes, "Dude, you're not going to apologize." And I just kind of said, like you've been apologizing to Lucy the whole match, and like, but what people don't see is that when the match was over, I'm talking to Jesse and I go, "Hey, I'm sorry about that. I didn't think it hurt you or anything.
Yeah.
Like, you look fine, but I'm sorry that I hit you and I am sorry I celebrated." Jesse could not have cared less. Yeah. And it's like, why would you even apologize to me? It's nothing. And I was like, that's what I thought, but I think social media is starting to turn it into like, and so that's the stuff that people don't see.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need to apologize to the world for something that I can handle. I can handle my business with other players. There's a mutual respect. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't see.
And you're so right that people care more about that than cheating.
That I really struggle with.
It's honestly mind-blowing. And you're right on repeat offenders. Like, there's certain people who, anytime a match gets close, there's a close call, they're gonna screw you, and it's it will come up online.
Happens all the
once,
time.
and then it won't be there again.
You know?
It's a tough spot.
yeah.
It's a tough spot for us to like, because I care about the integrity of the sport.
Yeah.
And so I've been posting about it, and I'll get messages from the people who I'm posting about, and they're like, "Are you kidding me? Like, you're gonna post about this? This person did that in the match. I've been so whatever." And I'm like, "Look, like you're cheating, and like it's not a good role. It's not good for the kids who are watching this.
Yeah.
Like, let's put the kibosh on it."
Yeah.
Well, if it's repeat offenders, I get some people miss calls.
That's going to happen.
And that's fine. And especially if you own up to it, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
I missed that call.
Yeah, I don't do if
Totally.
it's a one-time thing. Yeah.
But it's like you said, there's certain people who I just feel like that's not, people don't shine a light on that as much. But the reason I wanted you to do this podcast in the first place is because, like I've told you, Jared, I've gotten to know Matt so well
Speaks
over
so
these
highly of him.
years.
Yeah.
I'm always just kind of singing your praise because I know what a cool dude you are. I mean, it was in the Players Lounge one time. We started talking about like the pyramids and like some Graham Hancock and stuff, and we got going on a conversation, and I was like, wow, like the world needs to, like, Matt doesn't have social media. The world needs to see Matt and kind of understand him, because I think everyone on tour can say this. You're one of people's favorites. I think you're so liked, and you have a good manner with everyone. And people will post the clips of you getting chirpy on court, but it's like everyone has a super high respect for you.
I appreciate you saying that. You've always been a very good friend to me. You've always been supportive. I'm glad you feel, that's been reciprocated by me. But like, I appreciate you having me on to kind of have this platform to just kind of talk about pickleball.
Dude,
And
of
I'm not big on social media. I don't go out there and try to defend myself if I'm getting, attacked or whatever you want to call it. But no, this has been great, and I've really had a good time.
Couple more questions.
Oh yeah, keep going.
Whenever I post a highlight of you and I'll tag you, I'm like, oh, he's not going to see that. Like,
Can we get your Instagram going?
we have it. It's Matt at Matt D.
I think I have one. It's
Is it Matt D. Wright?
maybe M Wright or
Matt DW
whatever,
or something?
something
Yeah.
like
I want to see like weekly posts from Matt, though. I feel like that'd be so good.
But when I tag other players, I know they're going to see it. When I tag Matt, I'm like, he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know that we're posting it.
But I think it's good to have an element of mystery too. That's
No,
kind of
I
my
think it's
thing.
great.
That's
That's
just
sure.
my
Yeah.
thing. I'm never going to be like, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But, like it's kind of good for the older guy to be Mr. Not social media and kind of like, well, who is this guy? Is he really a jerk? Is he not like, what's he like?
I think Roscoe's spot on, like having you on and hearing how articulate you are and how smart and like you care. Like you're a passionate,
I'm very passionate, and like I would just say again, a lot of what you see on the court between players with certain individuals, whatever it may be, it's not always that doesn't represent who that person necessarily is in general. Like Jared, I know Jeff Warnick, and we were talking about that a little. Like Warnick and I have some infamous matches where we're going back and forth. Jeff and I also could not get along much better than we do.
Yeah.
I mean, the court, you're saying?
Oh, we get along great. Like, I love Jeff. Like, he's a smart guy, hilarious guy, great sense of humor. Like, just a good guy.
Yeah.
And we'd be at a lot of these tournaments where all hell's breaking loose on the court. And later that night, we're still there, having a beer, laughing about whatever, and we're sitting at the same table. Like, that's just, I don't know. To us, that was normal. It wasn't a big deal.
We got to get Jeff back into the.
Yeah, we really do.
Jeff was great for the sport.
Yeah.
Great for the sport. Love Jeff.
So you turned 50 in 2 years.
I turned 50 in a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah.
When's your birthday?
May 25th.
And we spoke about this. You're not playing senior. You're playing open pro until you feel like you can't compete anymore.
That's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan.
When do you think that age is where you're like, God, I just can't do it?
I don't know. I don't want to like wither away. I want to be competing at the top. And if I don't feel like I can be at the top on a given day, I think I'll just kind of.
And that's it.
Yeah.
No senior pro.
Yeah. That's not, my plan has always been to not play senior pro. And that remains my plan.
What if Agassi was like, hey, Matt, let's go play the senior pro tournament
I
together?
guess that would just be a really cool story. Like,
That'd be insane.
childhood hero. You grew up watching Andre Agassi play. Yeah, I don't know how you could say no to that. But if, but for some unique situation, that's my plan.
We need Gimbal Stop to set that up. Matt Wright, Andre Agassi, first senior pro tournament when Matt is eligible.
he could probably make it happen.
Sick. So you've seen a lot of the evolution of the sport. Where do you see it in a year, 3 years, 5 years? Do you think you think we've kind of reached that point where now it's going to just keep growing, but we've already kind of seen the big bursts and the big changes, or do you think it's going to continue to evolve like that?
It's an interesting question, and one that I think a lot of players ask themselves at this point. I feel like, I don't know that there's an identity crisis with pickleball right now, but I feel like we're in this gray area of what does the sport want to be, right? Like the PPA, obviously it would be huge if it could land a huge TV deal, right? So that's going to be the next step in this journey. Can it land that big TV deal? And what do the masses want? What does the product need to be to appeal to the masses? And when I say the masses, it needs to be the non-casual player.
Yeah.
You know, the ordinary guy sitting on his couch on a Saturday afternoon who's never played pickleball and goes, "Oh wow, that looks kind of interesting."
Yeah. So you're saying the pro game getting new people into the sport to play. Yeah.
Correct. Like I always compare pickleball to golf in the sense that I think golf is popular for two reasons. Number one, you have the beauty at the courses themselves on TV. It really translates well to a TV product. And number two, a lot of people have played or do play golf. And so when they turn it on, they can relate like, wow, these guys are great, because I go out and play golf and I shank it 20 yards, right? Like this is really special what I'm seeing. I think pickleball is similar, at least in the sense that the casual fan, I think when they turn it on right now, when they turn on the TV, they're going to go, that looks so easy, the dink. I feel like I could do that. Especially tennis players are going to go, this is so easy. They don't realize what a skill and an art and a craft it really is. And so what does the sport want to be? Does it want to be more of a chess game where there's a lot of creativity out there and a lot happening at the kitchen line with dinking? Or does it want to be a power game?
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like we're at this crossroads right now of what do we want to be? And I don't know if anyone has the answer right now.
Yeah. My last question is, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered as a guy who gave it hell every match. I always gave maximum effort, highly competitive, but also very respectful of people off the court and would always be friendly to you.
And I think you are. I think that's a great question. It's funny to ask that now, though, because I think a lot of people are like, you know, after the breakup with Riley, we're probably like, oh, like, you know, is Matt going to keep going? And like, you look at he's like making finals this year and like, he's still killing it. And we're, you know, talking about like, oh, you going and playing, you're able to play senior pro in 2 years. It's like, it's just awesome to see you keep crushing it, dude.
Appreciate it, guys.
Any other questions, Jared?
No, I'm just super appreciative that you made the time. We're leading. World's about to start. You could be doing a million things right now, and you made the time. So I'm really appreciative.
No, if there are two guys I'm going to come on and talk to and do something like this, it's you guys. Like this, I think what you're doing with the pod has been great. I've watched all your shows. They're awesome. I'm happy to. I've had a good time, and if you ever want me again, let me know.
We're definitely going to have you on again.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. We need more stories. Matt, thanks, my man. Thanks for being on here.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.